Okay. So we'll start in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Yes. No. Just looking in that direction.
I'm going to check with her. Yeah. She's ready. Yep. Hit it. And she says she's ready, so just go ahead.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the Treasure Coast Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Stuart, Florida. Today is May 11th, 2025. My name is John Morn, and I am your worship associate today. We are a welcoming congregation. We welcome people of all gender identities, ethnicities, ages, and backgrounds, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We are on YouTube as well. To be put on our mailing list or to find out more information about us, go to Google TCUUC and find our website. It's tcuuc.org. Note the email link to request our online Friday newsletter. Please silence your cell phones. I'm going to do mine as well at this moment because I hadn't done that. And, oh, it's a new system. I have to, okay. Okay. Visitors, if you are comfortable, please step up to the microphone and introduce yourself. I actually don't see any visitors. Announcements this morning. Be sure to look at the program, which has announcements as well, more details on those. I want you to be aware that to join us on the first and third Tuesdays at Poppleton Creek Park, which is just down the road, at noon for a brown bag lunch. This was something that started during COVID and continues and is very successful. It's right adjacent to the dog park. That's where we meet. I want to mention that there will be a congregational meeting after the service today at noon, and so please join us for that in the other room. Also today at 4:30 here, we're going to have a party for Deb Harris, who is visiting us briefly. She's come down from Connecticut, and she's on her way to Panama, and so we're looking forward to seeing her. I also want to announce that our book club, which meets Wednesdays at 11 o'clock, is finishing up a really good book about John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Our next book starts 2 weeks from Wednesday. The title of the book is Burn Book. It's by Kara Swisher, and she is a renowned journalist who hung out with all the tech bros for the last 20 years. And she does not pull any punches. I'm looking forward to that. We will also have coffee and cookies in the social hall after the service. I want to give a big thanks to the people who helped with this service. Of course, Jackie Robbins and Sandy Craig with the choir providing our music. Our greeters today, Janet Grote, Judith Watt, and David Gray, along with Shari Louise. Our ushers, who will remain nameless until later, and our tech elf, Karuna Poloni, and our backup tech, Alistair Forrester. Our hospitality team today is Joanne Leone and Judy Bajoris. Today, Reverend Bob MacDonald is in the pulpit. And now we'll have our prelude. Thank you, Jackie. Now we will light our chalice. These words come from Pat Arube Lichty. We come from many places along different paths, bringing different truths. We come with different histories and different realities, and yet we come together as one people with faith that we can use our differences to heal ourselves and each other, to bring wholeness to the fractured world. We come seeking to find community, to find acceptance of who we are. In this place, we may find others who are not much like us and others who are much different. May our lit chalice remind us that we are a people taught by different stories, with many voices, but always one people, working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace. And now my opening words, not mine, Thomas Fritz wrote these. To be human is to be aware of our separation. We want to love and to be loved by our friends, our parents, our children, but often we feel alone, not knowing the right things to do or the right words to say. We want to live in harmony with the land, the water, the air, the plants, and the animals, but often we feel like clumsy blunderers, estranged from the natural world around us. The confession of separation is an act of humility, a willingness to admit that we are not as wise or as confident as we appear to be, that inside we sometimes feel lonely and confused. The act of confession is the first step in moving into a relationship. To feel the presence of a greater power, we first stand at a distance, feeling our separation. Then we turn and move into relationship, opening our hearts to other people, to the earth, to sounds of music. In turning, we feel a mutual contact, the reciprocal meeting of the fullness of life between one active existence and another. We call this experience grace. In the face of a child, in the hug of a friend, in the sounds of a choir, in the flowers of spring, the Spirit of grace enters our bodies and renews our souls. Amen. And now we're going to sing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us. Stand if you wish and sing along. Let us recite our affirmation, speaking the first verse and singing the second. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Sun. because of my topic today, I thought this reading by Wendell Berry was good for us, a unison reading rather than responsive. So 483. Maybe you can find it quicker than I can. All right. Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Wendell Berry. And now our times of joy and sorrow, we invite you to share yours. We ask that they be brief and personal, and we hope that as you share yours, you know you are heard and supported. First of all, I want to call on Deb Harris to speak to us for a couple minutes. Deb got honorable mention in the thought I shared in the newsletter, most recent, as our brutal losses over the past year among them. But anyhow, she's on her way to her new life in Panama and remains part of our life. And I'm going to stop talking and let you.
Hello? Okay, it works. It's such a great joy to be here with you in person. You should know that Francisco and I watch you every Sunday. I usually watch once in the morning, and then we watch together in the evening, and so we feel like we're with you, and we always look to see everyone. But it's wonderful to be here in person, and we appreciate all the support we've had from you over this last year. For those who don't know, my husband and I fled Florida for Connecticut, a blue state, but it turns out there really is no safe place in the country anymore if you're an immigrant. But I am really happy to announce that he is safe in Panama.
We're happy for him.
And said the other night, that he feels free for the first time. I think he didn't know how stressful it was, but I do, because every time he'd go out of the house, I'd wonder if he was going to come back. So I'm breathing for the first time too. And rather than seeing that I'm being forced out of my country in order to stay with my husband, I'm feeling like this is a new adventure. And going to go to a wonderful place, but we'll still watch you from Panama, so we'll still be with you. And if everything goes well, the dogs and I will be flying out on a teeny tiny plane with 6 other dogs and 3 other people on Wednesday morning, so that should be exciting. I'll send pictures. So thank you all. It's wonderful to be here.
Great. We want to gather. We want to gather with Deb at 4:30. We're going to treat her like a movie. We often have hors d'oeuvres and bring your own drink. So this afternoon at 4:30, we invite you to bring an hors d'oeuvre to share and your own drink. And we'll just be together with Deb. The point isn't really the eating, the point is the meeting. But we hear that, we know that at church, eating helps things go. So, yes, Pat?
I have to share 2 Mother's Day blessings. One is having Deb and Bernie and Sonny be with me and Benji. And it asked me at coffee hour if you want to see pictures of small, medium, and large. It is a joy to be a dog mom. Being a dog mom is something that Deb knows about. It's just the same as being a mom. And I find a lot of joy in being a dog mom. I also find joy in being a real mom. As my son and I watched A Beautiful Mind Friday, and he appreciated watching that and the new medications that he's been able to respond to that were not available at the time when Dr. Nash was embracing his paranoid schizophrenia and all of its side effects. And my son was able to be grateful to be struggling with the same challenge in an era of newer medication.
Who else? Joy or sorrow?
Hello, my name is Pam Corbin, and I do brown bag lunch and alternate Thanksgiving. I want to let you know what a wonderful minister we have.
Please.
I was disrespected, ignored. A group of people were rude to me last Tuesday, and no one even used a cell phone to call me. And I think that's important for all of us to know that these disagreements can be solved by a bit of communication. Instead, I was told, we're eating here. I was going to leave the church. And I waited a few days because you shouldn't do things in anger. And who did I call? And Bob said, not letting you go anywhere. And that's why we have a wonderful minister. In order to keep friendships up, relationships up, in order to be a family, because some of us, this is our family. We must keep in contact with one another. We must respect one another with the gift of communication.
Okay, Pam, thank you. First of all, we want to put Pam on the salary committee because of her high praise. And secondly, she makes a really good point. We know each other really well, but we also have to be aware of each other's feelings and treat each other well. And we'll just go on talking about that until we get to the promised land. Ken and then Shari.
I will be very brief. I just want to add to what Pam just said, and that's that anger is a poison. That being angry is like taking poison and expecting the other guy to die. It doesn't work that way.
I'm sorry, that was really funny and sad at the same time. Good morning, my name is Shari Louise, and I have a joy, and my joy is to recognize that this is a day of femininity. And after the service today, there will be fresh roses for each one of you, whether you are a mom, a dog mom, a cat mom, a sister, an aunt, whatever you are or wherever you are, you have done something to nurture someone in your life. And that is a very feminine trait. So there will be a rose for each one of you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Regina.
I have a joy. I have a great niece who is going to be going to the college that I went to, a state college in Pennsylvania. And I was really happy to hear about that. And she was not deterred. Her and her family, her brother and sister and her mom, were up there to meet the roommate and see what's going on. And they weren't deterred. They're city people. They're from Philly. And they weren't deterred by the smell of the dairy farms that are all all around in this. And her sister said, "I'm not going up there, it stinks." But she was real happy with it. She liked her roommate and all, so it was really nice. It was a joy.
Good.
I have a joy to share. My name is David Gray, and I've been around here for a while. And I received a letter recently from Valerie Graw. Some of you may not be familiar with that name, but she was one of those high school students that acted as a choir here back in the day. And she has now graduated from Indiana University, my alma mater.
Let's not promote universities, David.
But she also got her master's degree there recently, and she's been abroad in all sorts of countries. So we still stay in communication. It's been delightful to know her. I suggested to her that she might want to go after her doctorate next.
And you probably told her where, right? Judy.
I'm Judy Bajaris, and I'm up here as a grandmother right now because, my granddaughter Ellie started at Notre Dame a few years ago. Her very first semester, she had to drop out due to a horrible fall. She was in the hospital for a long time and a long time healing, but she lost that first semester. She went back. She's an applied mathematics major, and she did spend one semester over in Budapest in a mathematics program over there. And she's still graduating on time next weekend, and that's where John and I will be headed up to South Bend, Indiana, to celebrate with her and the whole family.
Okay. All right, Jackie will be the last one, and she'll be brief.
I have a joy. Judy Bajuris will be joining me for the offertory music, and it is from Dvorak, Anton Dvorak, and it's songs my mother taught me.
I just want to mention two other things. Fred and Ronnie have a daughter that's still waiting for a liver transplant, and I know you don't want to bring that up every week, but that's certainly a heartache until it happens. It depends on another heartache happening, a sadness, but it's a way of sharing someone's life who has been lost. So we just hope to hear some good news about Kirsten soon. The note I'll end on, it's happy to see Jay and Jim here, but back from a trip to Spain, you weren't at all responsible for that power outage in Spain.
He's the Secretary of Transportation, and thank goodness it didn't happen on his watch. He takes care of our travel, so we did hear about it. We want to learn.
It's good to have you where you belong. Move a stone for them or two, whichever. And we always move one for people that we don't say out loud because we all have folks we ongoingly worry about. So, what's that? You want to mention the Pope? I just did. Okay. Is there anything else anybody can't help but mentioning before I continue? I read this a fair amount by Ralph Waldo Emerson, but it seemed to go with my theme today, which is comparison and siblings. So this is Emerson's reading in the back of our hymnal for our meditation. These roses under my window make no reference to former ones or to better ones. They are for what they are. They exist with God today. There is no time to them. There is simply the rose. It is perfect in every moment of its existence. Before a leaf bud has burst, its whole life acts. In the full-blown flower, there is no more. In the leafless root, there is no less. Its nature is satisfied, and it satisfies nature in all moments alike. But we postpone or remember. We do not live in the present, but with reverted eye, lament the past, or heedless of the riches that surround us, stand on tiptoe to foresee the future. We cannot be happy or strong until we too live with nature in the present, above time. Emerson. And now moments of silence. And now the hymn is 123, Spirit of Life. We hum it and then we sing it. And you may remain seated or stand, whichever. 123. And now this is the time for our morning offering. We ask you to give, and I keep telling you that I hope you experience generosity here, and we can go on if we go on experiencing your generosity. And now I know I have two volunteers. I just can't remember. Oh, here they are. Thank you, Jay and Tia. I'm just curious, how many of you have or had siblings? Well, siblings. Yeah, most of you, good. Someone that knows me well has suggested to me that most of my issues, foibles, or neuroses can be explained by my being the second of two sons. Now, I know half of you have been therapists, so I welcome your sharing your diagnosis with me privately for free after these thoughts. I've mentioned about every year that Mother's Day is not a sermon topic for me. If it were, what would I say? Mine was the best, and I hope you feel the same way about yours. Our parents came through the Depression and 2 world wars, born after one and endured another. Hard times and struggles guaranteed. Alcoholism and mental illness were bedfellows for many, probably about half of us. So, any sermon on our parents should make 2 points: gratitude, and we should at least aim to do as well. I used to tell my daughters I expected them to be an improvement on me. And I stopped when they assured me, when they were teens, that that had already happened. The denomination I knew before you, I mean you, called the second Sunday of May the Festival of the Christian Home. What that meant, I had no idea. But I thought it meant talk about something every family needs more of. I know I've told you that in my Methodist churches and in this congregation. Someone said to me, if you're going to talk about motherhood on Mother's Day, please let me know ahead of time. I will skip it. I didn't ask why. I was speaking in another UU church recently and telling them the migraine headache, a literal interpretation of the Bible, gave me for my entire career. I didn't share in that interpretation, but I certainly heard about it for a long time. I had to explain to confirmation classes that there were people in our churches who read the Bible literally and thought the first humans arrived, landed, fully formed. Like Mork. Does anybody remember Mork? Was that Robin Williams' original role? I kind of think that. And those fully formed parents had 3 sons, presumably the natural way. And that did not go well. And of course, there was no help with the question, where did those sons get their women? So I added somewhat whimsically, now there's a Mother's Day topic, our 3 sons, 2 of whom survived. The Cain and Abel story was about tribal hatred and supposedly a divine preference for one tribe over another. A very old explanation of the very worst in human nature. My tribe is better than your tribe. It seems to me the religion that tell those stories haven't learned enough from them. If your deity doesn't make you rise above that, for deity's sake and your own, go shopping. That's the first sibling story in the Hebrew and Christian sacred literature. If it isn't just a story, it's a migraine. The second sibling story in that body of sacred lit is another beaut, Jacob and Esau. Esau is the firstborn, and the story goes he enters the world and leaves the womb with his brother grasping his foot. The firstborn in that ancient mindset inherited everything. So the story develops that the father favored the firstborn, Esau, and the mother favored the second, Jacob. So the mother concocts a scheme to trick the old man into conferring the privileges of the firstborn upon the secondborn. Are we inspired yet? I will leave that ancient storytelling, gladly, and move on to some ah and aha moments I've had recently in some colleague circles and conversations. I'm talking to groups from my high school days and retired ministry associations up north. I started them as memory supplements. These are all men and women my age, and more than one said something I found astounding. It went something like this: it has finally dawned on me that my siblings are and insist on being their own people. They aren't and don't want to be and don't need to be what I thought they would or should or could be and would make of them. In a word, our siblings had to be and had every right to be themselves. And what I too often found fault with was really my slowness to realize that. What that said to me, hearing this from my friends, I might have better relationships if I let people, especially people I'm related to through no fault of their own or my own, if I let those people tell me who they are and know that if they are willing to, I'm really fortunate that they are willing to. Now, these conversations with my peers startled me with their obviousness. I hope that meant I was still able to learn. A couple months ago, I worked some quotes I stumbled upon into my sermon. And when I stumble upon quotes that I really like, you know you're going to suffer them. It was the Sunday after St. Patrick, and some guy was remembering what his Irish grandmother said a lot. His Irish grandmother was what used to be called a Dutch uncle. If you were here that Sunday, you'll remember she used to say to the kid in her care, "If you're looking for sympathy, it's in the dictionary between a four-letter word that starts with S and ends with T, and syphilis." Two words we don't say up here, but between those words. Now, the first quote from his dear Irish Nana was what I found applicable today, and it was something like, "Most of the unhappiness in the world is rooted in comparison." Rooted in comparison. Comparison, something all people do, something all people have to do, but when laid upon children, readily leads to feelings of not as good as and not good enough. So I was the second child, the second son. We had to live with our grands because Mom had us by the time she was 22 and divorced. My Nana, who had to watch us all day, had no filter when she was annoyed, which was often. So I heard a lot, "Why can't you be like your brother?" Her favorite lines were, "Children are to be seen and not heard." Now, some of you have heard that. And "go out and play." At least she never said go out and play in the middle of the road. Another thing she used to zing me with when I was too little to know what the word meant or what a dictionary was, she used to say, "Bobby, you have no gumption. No gumption." I had no idea what that was. A couple additional comparison stories. My late mother-in-law was a famous German runner before World War II, in Germany, of course. She had gold medals from European championships. She was to have run in that famous 1936 Olympics, but an injury kept her out. The war ended that. She married and got had two daughters, and told them one was the smart one and one was the athletic one. They never got along. The smart one got pretty motivated to also be the athletic one. I had a family in one of my student churches who taught me something. They had two preteen sons who occasionally came to church with them and were always introduced to me as, "You remember our first son, Paul, who is our pride, and our second son, David, who is our joy." I was childless at the time and thought they should be. Comparisons. So I had an unspoken oath to myself that if I had children, when I had children, there would not be comparisons. Until we went camping. And camping 50 years ago was not all by yourselves overlooking a river or a mountain backdrop like in some of those TV commercials. It was KOA, where you had maybe 15 by 15 feet with your tent and table, and there were squares like that all around you. So first daughter went right to sleep early and long. Number two had a crying and screaming act before she could be quieted and asleep. You can't have that, a screaming child in such a tight neighborhood. So yours truly wound up taking her many nights to the parking lot and rocking and singing and a little swearing, and soon enough, those dreaded words, "Why can't you go to sleep like?" Words which I had sworn I would never say. There are no doubt other contexts like eating and toilet training and school performance where comparisons work their poison. But if your child goes right to sleep, someone ought to suggest to you that one child is an option. You may not learn early in life that siblings are a gift. I mean, I thought I was maturing when I realized they kind of taught us self-defense. They kind of taught us that everybody gets angry and acts on it. The important thing is not to hurt anybody or yourself with it. So your siblings are a gift. And that can be part of our adult education. It has been part of mine. It really surprised me when more than one of my friends told me, ditto for them. My trip to the cold Northeast, late March, to attend my late brother's granddaughter's wedding and to check on my ailing younger sisters was my attempt at better sibling behavior. They told me, my sisters did, that their big brother, I, used some of his teen job earnings to fill a spot in the fridge with things I bought for me and marked Bob's only, like milk and OJ. And they laughed about how easily they could help themselves and add water. Just add water. Brotherhood and sisterhood are efforts worth making. It's interesting to me, and I've brought up many times, that religions haven't helped, but rather have stoked and continue to stoke poisonous comparison and favoritism. Elaine Pagels, a world religion scholar like Karen Armstrong, wrote that nobody practiced fratricide like Christians. Christian sects killing other Christian sects for unorthodox Christian belief and telling them they were killing their wayward brothers and sisters to save their soul. Wow. And the chosen people of Israel got their land after the world tried hating them or letting others hate them and kill them. And their sacred literature is full of reminders. Remember to be hospitable to the stranger in your midst, because you were wandering strangers in Egypt and were abused there. Still, the people of Gaza are people too, and they have a right to exist. And the UN and the US, us, and the Arab states who are supposedly kin to the Palestinians and Israel all have to answer to the piled rubble of homes and humans we have allowed Gaza to become. It's just an awful sore that goes on, and the world seems to practice who can ignore it the best. And now India and Pakistan, Hindu and Muslim, preach brotherhood as well. My topic for this Sunday in years past, here and in churches north, used to be the mystery we call family. The mystery we call family. We're all better off if I can admit they are mystery, and I haven't figured out every important thing about them. I told you before that my sisters are into crafts and made a mug for me, which I guess I forgot to bring. I brought it before. The mug says, "Of course I'm right, I'm Bob." Of course I'm right, I'm Bob. Yes, that's me too, to them. But for now, and the time we have, I'm grateful for the siblings I have and the sibling I had. I hope I can learn from them, and we'll all forget about how right I once had to be. That just might be easier for me to forget than for them. The closing hymn, 317. The choir is going to sing the first verse, and then we're all going to sing the rest of it. 317. Is that right? Okay. My thanks to the choir. I should tell you that the choir has agreed that I need to learn and have some additional hymns than the ones I use over and over again, and they've agreed to stand up front and lead us in the singing. So we're a team here. Thank you. The closing words are from Walter Royal Jones, back of the hymnal. Mindful of truth ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love. You'd think we were working together somehow.